Bam, right on time, 10 o'clock. Okay, so today is going to be a special, I don't know how special, but today is going to be kind of a special edition of Book Talk with Cody C. and me, because we're going to delve into something very pertinent to authors, or whether you're independent or a traditionally published author, and that is read magnets, or I'm sorry, yeah, reader magnets. And excuse my the way I'm speaking. I didn't realize how my voice would be until I used it. I am recovering from tongue cancer, so sometimes inside of my mouth it gets a little swollen, and it's hard for me to enunciate very well. I've lost my beautiful television voice a while back. You know what? It is hot under these studio lights, so I'm gonna take this off. Um, but it's coming back, and I'm working on. I'm going through therapy. So first of all, today's show. See, I've already gone on tangents, and this is something I'm working on. Believe it or not, I listen to these after I'm done, and I'm doing it right now. I am going on tangents. I'm like, Cody, stay focused. I start points sometimes, and I never finish them. So what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about reader magnets. What are reader magnets? There's another word outside the literary world. It's called a loss leader, and that is basically when you give something away or at a reduced price below its market value in order to bring in customers, right? So in this instance, giving away a free ebook. So, oh, by the way, I just want to point out. See, here I am going on tangents. This is a new thing I'm doing. I am. I hope I have enough bandwidth to do this. I am monitoring the live feed on my phone because I want to be able to see when I pop things up. I don't want to have to jump back and forth to see if I'm clicking on links, we are that this is following. So I'm going to try to make it a little bit more smoother. This show is always under is always improving. We're always working our best here at Engdahl House. Give you the best experience you can have. So let's before we get into it, let's do the intro. Who am I? I am the author that you know. My name is Cody C. Engdahl. I am the author of 6 novels and 2 nonfiction work, actually three nonfiction works. One of which right now you can only get by joining my my email list. That's in the link below. And if you click on that and you put your email into the bar below, it'll take you to a page where you can download my reader magnet. Now, just so you know that this reader magnet that I have right now is not the main one in which I'm going to use to build up my email list. It is it's more of an experiment. I like to test things out, but we'll get into that in a minute. So let's finish with the intro. So this channel has done a lot of different things, but what we're doing now with it is I am using this to do live feeds here to talk about the journey as an independent author. So we're going to talk a lot about book marketing and book writing. There are reviews. Probably the next one will be a review on Bernard Cornwell's what's the name of the book? Sharpe's Command, which I'm about 80% through with. But today we're going to talk about reader magnets, email lists, and how those things work to as marketing tools. Okay, so I think a lot of people, especially those who have not published a book yet, a lot of people think that the mere act of writing a book and publishing it is the goal. And that once you do that, by putting it out there into the world, that automatically success follows. They will soon be disabused of that notion once their book has been sitting out there for weeks and months, and it falls deeper and deeper into the very depth of the rankings on Amazon. At some point in your career, you will realize that once the initial round of friends and family, and maybe even a few curious strangers buy your book, that sales will absolutely plummet. And so the next thing, and I would say Well, I, one of the first things that you're going to probably do is buy Amazon ads, which I highly recommend. If you don't know how to do it, the best way to learn is through Brian Cohen. He's got a 14-day, it used to be free. Now it's a 14-day course for $9, which is still a pretty good deal. That's a good foundational. And then there's deeper levels that you can pay for to learn more. Look at this. I'm actually swallowing. Hallelujah. We'll talk about the cancer at the end of this. For those of you who want to know. Uh, uh, Amazon ads are great. And the philosophy behind Amazon ads are it is the most direct place to reach out to readers, right? Because people are literally on Amazon looking for books to buy. So if you buy ads on Amazon, you can find them where they are. People on Amazon looking for the next book to read. The next thing that you would probably do is to buy ads on Meta, which is Facebook and Instagram, and maybe some other places too. Mostly Facebook, because Facebook is an older audience, at least for my genre. My genre is military historical fiction for the most part, or historical action adventure fiction. And most of my readers are 65 plus. But I do get readers as young as, especially when I do shows. I get a lot of times parents buy buy books for kids as young as 8 or 9 or 10, which is great. And I always say that even though my books are not written for children, and there is swearing and there are some sexual things happening in them, that if the kids get to those parts, they're mature enough to understand it. Because when I was a kid, I read above my age group. So I was reading things like that, in my preteens and things like that. So anyway, moving on. But the one thing with paid advertising, which should be part of your thing, is that it's paid. And it's something you got to constantly put money into to get money out. Oh, I just want to go back to Meta real quick, which is when I say Meta, think Facebook. Well, let's just say Facebook to make it easy, because that's really where my ads do show up on Instagram, but that's not really where my audience is. Facebook is like playing craps. I don't know if any of you are gamblers, but I'll go to the casino with $100. This is back in the 90s. I would go to the casino with $100 and I could play blackjack for hours, for several hours, get free drinks, get comped a free meal, all that kind of stuff. And in the end of several hours of gambling, with $100, if I walked out with nothing, I actually won, because I had a great time. I mean, for $100, I got to play blackjack for hours, was entertained, got free drinks, had a free meal, which is it was like a buffet style, like Bonanza, but there was like a steak and a great meal. So have a great meal, drinks all night, and be entertained for $100. That's a great deal. But if you play craps is that's the game where you see the people rolling the dice and all that. That game, you can win a lot of money really fast in craps, and that's why it's very exciting and very popular, and that's why you see 007 playing it. It's probably the most prestigious of the casino games. Let me know if I'm wrong on that, but I think it is. But you can lose money fast too, and that's what Facebook ads are like. You can, if you make your ad right and you put it out there in the right place, in the right time, for the right audience, bam, man. Like when I first did Facebook ads, I couldn't believe how much money I had coming in. And then I had, just like that gambler's delusion, because that's how casinos work. You can win money in a casino. It is not hard to go to a casino and win money. It's hard to walk out with that money. That's a challenge, man. It's a challenge. You go in there and double your money very quickly, man, but you're gonna pay a lot more in the end. Everybody, you have gamblers have winning streaks and losing streaks, but everybody dies a loser in the end. When you tally up the score, so that's what meta's like. So the one thing, and everybody is saying this. Brian Cohen, who is I'm a an acolyte. It took the Star Wars show to teach me how to actually say that word. I've seen it all my life. I think I called it occulte. The acolyte, I'm an acolyte of Brian Cohen, but everybody, whether it's in the literary world or outside in just social media marketing, the one thing that everybody should eventually get to, if you're really serious, especially if you're independent, but I know authors who are traditionally published, through publishing houses do this as well, is get an email list. And the reason being is that, there's a little bit of money involved in paying for your own domain. You need a domain, your own domain. Like I'm engdahlhouse.com is my domain. And I pay like $17 a year to hold that domain name. So there is some cost. But I have MailerLite, which until I have over 1,000 email subscribers, I don't pay anything for that. And my philosophy is that once I get over 1,000 subscribers, whatever it is, it's going to be worth it. And so, by the way, sign up for my email list below. I think I have about 91 last time I checked. So the reason why you have an email list is, other than the nominal maintenance fee to own your domain name every year, that's free advertising. And not only is it free advertising, is that whereas on Facebook and Amazon, you can target your audience or your would-be audience, your email list is quite literally your audience. These are people who have said, I like you. I like what you, and it's not just necessarily for authors, but let's, in my case, I'm an author. These are people that say, I like you, Cody. I like the stuff that you're doing, and I want to know when there's more coming out, especially as an author, because some authors are very quick, putting out multiple books a year. I put out one, actually I had a chat, Grok? Asked Grok about who is Cody C. Engdahl, and it was wild. This is AI. It knew a lot about me. It knew about my style of writing, not just the genre, but how I write, like with very emotionally in-depth characters and things like that. But one of the things it says is that Cody C. Engdahl puts out a book every year to 2 years, which is true. I think the longest time I've been between books is 18 months. But so your email list is a way to stay in touch with your specific audience, people who have signed up to follow you, to let them know when you have a new book that's out. And so if you don't have an email list now, you should be thinking about it and considering it, because this is how you really start growing your readership. Eventually, they're going to demand this of you, right? What I use and once you have your email list, you got to be very careful about how you use it. Do not spam them. It's a matter of trust. So don't sell their emails and give them away to someone else. Be very judicious as far as doing email list swaps with other authors or promoting other authors' work. I'll give you an example of how that worked out for me, and I'm going to try not to put a pin in that, because I say things I'm going to do and then I forget to do it. So we're going to do that. But for the most part, people sign up for your list for your stuff. So be careful about having too many, promoting too many other stuff on it that's not you. I use mine I have 99-cent, 99-pence promos on my ebooks on Amazon. So when those are out, I alert my email list that, am am I shooting myself in the leg because I'm alerting people when there's a 99-cent promo when I'd rather them buy it for full price because I make a higher royalty? Not really, because I mean, we're talking about 91 people compared to the potential, the endless potential of readers out there that will otherwise, who are not paying attention, who will otherwise buy my books for full price. And I also find that a lot of times, if one of my interior books of the series is up for 99 cents and someone sees that, they might go, "Oh, this is book 3." But you know what? I'm just going to buy the whole series right now. I'll get this one for 99 cents. I'll pay full price for the whole thing. That happens a lot, a lot. It's surprising. I actually make more money overall when one of my interior books is on 99 cents promos than when the first one does. Because when the first one's on a 99-cent promo, they're like, okay, well, I'll read this, and if it sucks, I won't read the next one. But sometimes when the interior book is on special, people will say, well, fuck it, I'll just get the whole thing. What was I going to say? I will say that I make sure that every single book can stand alone. So if you're if you're at a cafe and you see a copy of Blood for Blood at Nashville, which is book 3, you can pick that book up and take it home and read it, and you're not going to be lost. I make sure that every book is self-contained. So if there's information you need to know from the previous novels, it is revisited and somehow woven into the narrative so that the reader understands the things they need to know, but not bog down the readers who have read through everything. Okay, so anyway, I bit the bullet. I think it was last year in 2024 was my year of, okay, I cannot go any longer without doing this. And so I bought Brian Cohen's book on email marketing, and then did all the things. Got a domain, got a MailerLite account, and then started growing the list. And I think I had, like, when I first had it, I went to, like, I do a lot of events. I don't know if Lloyd, if you're watching, you might be, because I saw you like the link to this. I see Lloyd do this a lot too, where he gets invited to bookstores and then he sets up a table and signs books, and he does that at libraries too. When you have a list, an email list, what I do is I bring a clipboard with a paper that says "sign up for my list," and I have a pen there. So I tell people, hey, and by the way, if you want to find out more, sign up for my list. Oh, I never finished what I was going to say about the list. So promos, but the most important thing, promos, and when I'm going to be, like, in public, like doing one of these book signings. But the most important reason why I have the list is to A, let people know when one of my books is on pre-order, and B, let people know when the book is out. So that is better than buying ads. I mean, obviously ads, there's a untapped, unlimited market out there, but the most direct thing to your most direct audience is, hey, my new book is out. Here's the link to buy it. Hopefully at some point that email list is thousands, if not tens of thousands of people on it. Who knows, hundreds of thousands of people on it. You can really boost your sales with that. So that's why you have an email list. The other thing, before I forget, I'll just say this. Make your email list mostly about you, and don't bore them to death. I mean, some people say it's good to do a newsletter, like, hey, guys, this is what I've been doing lately. I don't want to bore people with that, because I don't like reading either. Like, hey, guys, it's springtime. It's time to plant flowers. My mom and I used to go and get flowers and plant them. And what flowers do you like? I don't believe people like that, but then again, I'm just thinking for myself. I don't like it. But okay, I go too far. I would say that be careful how much you promote other people. I think I've done it once or twice. I've done it once with Matthew Harvey, where I wrote I got an advanced reader copy. I did a review for it, and I shared that review with my email list. Daniel Green probably did it best. He did me a solid. So Daniel writes. He's now writing like Viking fantasy under a pen name, which is um, Logan Irons, which is a great pen. Logan Irons, great pen name, and that's no secret. He's open about and I think part of it is it's a change of genre. The other part is there's another Daniel Green writing fantasy, so I think he wanted to differentiate himself from the other Daniel Green. But I subscribe to Daniel's uh, email um, email list, and and sometimes I read other authors' emails just to see what they're doing, so I can learn from them. Sometimes I skip them. Well, Daniel put out an email the other week, and I was like, "Yeah, I want to see what he's doing." I pulled it up, and he's at the beginning of the email, and remember in journalism we talk about the inverted triangle. So you want the most important. Don't bury the lead. You want the most important things first, and then less and less and less and less and less. So Daniel's email talks about, I can't remember, but it's him. It's about his latest book coming out or something to do with his stuff. But then when you scroll down, he says, "Hey guys, did you like my Civil War series? If you've read that and you want more, here's another author, Cody C. Engdahl. Here's the first book in his series and the link to it, Rampage on the River." Well, Daniel, if you see this or you're watching, man, thank you so much. And actually, I'm gonna do it back when I put Rampage on the River on 99-cent promo. I'm gonna add him to my list. That is a smart way of doing it. So I'm not spamming my email list with everybody else, but I'm including other people, especially people who are serve your list. So if there are people on my list who like Civil War stuff, well, Daniel Green writes very similar stuff. I mean, the way we know each other is because I write about the Second Michigan Cavalry. He writes about, I can't remember what regiment. It's actually an invented regiment, but it allows him, there's still a lot of historical accuracy in it. What it does is it allows his regiment to participate in different battles without being tied to like, well, this regiment only was here or only did this. So it gives them a lot of freedom while still being historically accurate with the overall picture. And I recommend Daniel Green's book. The Northern Wolf is the book one of his Northern Wolf series. It's great, and I read it. And if you want to see a review, scroll through, either go to my WordPress account or the reviews on Amazon. But you can also see my live video about it. All right. So we talked about the email list. And in the beginning, when you have that email list, you want to put it everywhere. You want to put it in the bio of all your social media pages, like it's on my Facebook page. Here, I'll go ahead and bring this up now so you don't have to just look at my ugly. And this is why I did this. So I want to see if this comes up here. So I'm adding to the stage. There we go. And let me see if it's going to show up on my. There it is. Okay. So this is my email list. I'm sorry. This is my Facebook page. Send me a friend request. If you're seeing this and we're not Facebook friends, or if you don't want to be, if you want to follow me, but you don't want to be friends because you want me looking at your stuff, that's fine. You can also follow me instead of friend me. So whatever. I used to think like, oh, followers, I'll friend you. You don't have to follow me. You can be friends. But there might be people like, well, I don't really want to be friends. I just want to follow. That's fine too. I have, let's see, 3,500 followers. Well, that's a combined friends and followers. I think about under 3,000 of those are friends. So if you look at my intro here, there are two links. There's one is link to my book and link to my email page. And then this is what it looks like when you go to that page. And I hope that that happens. I'm looking at my monitor. There's a delay here. But so like my Twitter, my Facebook, everywhere I can put it, this link is there. Yeah, it's not doing it. It's not showing it. Okay, so I have to do that manually. Nothing ever. Okay, we're gonna remove that. We'll get back to that. Not only is that link on every single a link to join my email list on every single social media uh, page, but it's also in every single one of my books. So everywhere I think it makes sense. I put it in the preface. I put it at the end of the narrative. So there's usually at the end of the narrative, there's a link to the next book and a link to the email page, email list. And then at the very end of the book, there is works by Cody C. Engdahl. And then once again, join my email list. So it's all places it can be. It's also in my, I have a Gmail account for my personal email. So just remember the email list is like corporate. It's like my business email list. It's the marketing list. It's not one I do business with. I have a personal email, which is codycengdahl@gmail.com. And I'm sure other email providers allow this. You can do a signature, and your signature can have pictures and everything. So in it is a picture of either my latest book, it's my latest book, whether it's a pre-order or it's out. There is a picture of that book, and then it says, check out my latest book here. There's a link, and then join my email list for promos and blah, blah, blah. And there's a link there. So there's 3 places you can do it. Social media pages, in your books themselves, and in your email signature. And you never know. I mean, I use it for everything. So I might pick up a reader from someone who just interacts with me in email that has nothing to do with me being a writer. So you do that. But then the next phase is you're going to want to start bringing in people who don't know you or outside of that. And the way to do that is to do what's called a reader magnet. And a reader magnet is something that you're giving away free in order to get people to sign up for your email list, right? And most people say, like a short story or a novella, not a full novel typically. And the idea behind it, I got this from Brian Cohen, is especially if you're writing a series, is you want it to be connected to the series, but not necessary for someone to read to understand the rest of it. And you also want it to be not only free, but exclusive. So you can only get this. So don't put it up on Amazon as well and sell it. This is something that you can only get by joining your email list. And there was a lot of ideas like, well, it could be like an additional side story about one of your characters. It could be an alternative ending, or maybe an alternative epilogue to something. I decided I'm going to be writing. I have a reader magnet now, or a leader loss, but it's not going to be the one that I'm going to be advertising. But the one I'm going to write is a short story novella that is going to be an immediate prequel to Rampage on the River, the first book of my series. That I'm going to start writing quite specifically May 16th, because I always give myself a month in between. Once a project is published, then I give myself a month to work on the marketing, do some house cleaning, do some research and some plotting, and then a month later, to the day, I start writing the new project. So that is going to be the real reader magnet. And once I do that, I'm going to start. I got this from Brian Cohen. I will run some our Facebook ads, not Amazon, because it's not going to be available on Amazon. But I will be creating Facebook ads, and it'll be get this free novella by joining my email list. I haven't quite worked it out how that's going to be, but that's later. I am giving myself up to 6 months to write this, put it together, and deliver and put it out there, deliver it to my email list before I start writing the next novel. Now, I might not take all 6 months, but that's my goal, is to have it all done. That will put me in. I think the way it would work out is that would put me in mid-October when that's done. Give myself another 30 days, and then mid-November, give myself another 30 days, and then start writing Black James December 16th. And by the way, I'm very excited about both these projects. The novella I'm going to write is going to be called The Underground Railroad Ball. When I come up with a book, there is a plot. It's usually connected to a historical event. So I have a plot, but I also have a theme. Every book has a theme. The theme of Rampage on the River was, what's more important, friendship and love, or your geopolitical sides? Because it's about friends that end up on opposite sides of the war, and who will eventually re-encounter each other, but now they're on, they're enemies, and what's stronger, the friendship? So that was the theme. The theme of my latest book, The French Fiasco, was about redemption and forgiving yourself, and redemption, and finding. I'll just leave it at that. Redemption and forgiving yourself, and finding that redemption. There's a big surprise in the book, so I don't want to give too much away on it. So the theme of the novella I'm going to write I'm going off on a tangent, I know, but for this reader magnet, the Underground Railroad Ball, is balancing between duty and legality and what's morally correct. And so it's going to be about Chester E. Newman, who is, if you read the trilogy, the Civil War trilogy, he's Carl's captain in the 2nd Michigan Cavalry. This is before he gets his captaincy. He is a Wayne County Sheriff's deputy in Detroit. And this is the time during the Fugitive Slave Act, in which by federal law, northern states had to help southern states reapprehend runaway slaves and return them to their slave masters by law. And so he is a lawman sworn to follow the law, uphold the law, and enforce it. But this is also the beginning of the war, by the way. And that the Fugitive Slave Act was still in power and being used in the very early days of the Civil War. Because in very early days, it was more about just putting down the rebellion and saving the Union, more so than the slavery question. It did eventually become front center, and of course the Confederate states seceded and started the war to preserve slavery. But in the early days, the Federal Army was more about preserving the Union. That's nuanced and complicated, and people are still arguing it today. But at its core, the war was about slavery. But anyway, in the early days of the war, because they were trying to put down the rebellion and restore the peace, the Fugitive Slave Act was still being enforced. And so it'll have to do with runaway slaves, Chester E. Newman, who is trying to get commissioned as a captain in the 2nd Michigan and not screw that up, and having to face the moral and the legal of between returning slaves and doing what's right. So that's what the theme of that is. Okay, so let's move on. But that's not going to be for a while. And I was a little nervous about it. I just want to say back to one thing so I finish my thoughts. I'm very excited about it because I keep having epiphanies about it, and I have notes. I have notes on like 10 or 12 future books I'm going to write. I've actually started like files for all of them and have a page of notes. So I have a lot of notes about what's going to happen in that book, and I'm very excited about it. And I have notes on Black James. It's going to be a banger. It's going to be epic. Um, I have it pretty much plotted out. I mean, at least I know the sequence of events and what happens. And that one is going to be very exciting. I can't wait for that. Okay. Enough of that. But one of the things I wanted to do in this interim between writing is that I wanted to work out how does this work? Once I write that novella that I'm going to give away to my email list, how do I deliver it to them? How do I set it up so that so that you automatically get it when you sign up for the email list? And so I did a lot of research, and one of the things I wanted to do was to test this out. And I did this very early on with publishing on Amazon. So when I was writing Rampage on the River, I came up with the idea of writing a very brief book that is called, and it's available today. In fact, I just sold like 3 copies yesterday, called The American Civil War Was About Slavery, with the word was in all caps. And it's basically a rebuttal to the lost cause that says, no, it wasn't about slavery. It was about tariffs. It was about preserving the Southern way of life. It was about the North trying to steal things from the South, anything but the obvious reason why the war happened. And I'm not going to get into that now, but I put together a very brief booklet that has all the quotes from like the letters of secession that basically says we're seceding from the United States in order to preserve slavery. The Confederate Constitution and all sorts of quotes on both sides. And I did that mostly because I wanted to see if test how to publish a book through Amazon before I published my novel. So it was a test. That was a test run. And you might be wondering, well, why don't you give that away? Because I do use it kind of as a leader loss, because there's a preview of Rampage on the River at the end of it. So I give it away for like $1. 99 cents is the cheapest I can put anything on Amazon for. And I give it away for absolutely free every 90 days. And I can only do it every 90 days by my publishing contract with Amazon. So it's a leader loss. I don't expect to make a lot of money. I've made some money. Since I published it, I probably made about $200 in royalty on it. It's not something that I expect to make money off of. Money's fine, but mostly I want to make the argument and have it out there and available to people. But it's also a leader loss, hoping that people may read it and then jump into the series. And it was a test. And you might say, well, why don't you use that as your reader magnet? Because I find that the market is a little different. The people who would buy that book are not necessarily the people who would read my novels. It's it's Civil War, but the people who buy that book are usually buying it for the political argument and the historical argument and the nonfiction reasons, and they may not be interested. So using it as a leader loss to get people into reading the novels, I don't think it works. The other thing is that it does aggravate people. So I don't really talk about it because a lot of my readers are Southern enthusiasts who are good people who like my books, but don't want to be beat over the head with this. And so I don't want. I mean, it's almost like it's detrimental that I even have that book out there with my name on it, because there are people who might not want to read my novels because of that stance that I take. So it's not a good reader magnet for this purpose. So I was thinking for a while of what I could do um, uh, outside of writing a novella, which writing a novella is ultimately the answer, and that's what I'm doing. But I came up with an idea at first, for practical reasons, but now for these reasons, and that is, um, at the end of when I'm writing, I try to explain as much as I can in the narrative, so that you don't have to be an expert in 19th century military or Civil War history or whatever that to read my novels. Um, so I try to explain as much as we go, but I don't want to have to explain everything every time I use it. So some things I I hope that the reader already knows, but I can't assume that all the time, because I want normies to be able to read my book. So I created a glossary for my very first book, and any kind of term that may not be familiar to them, um, that I might be taking for granted, goes into the glossary. And basically, I wrote it myself. I wrote definitions uh, of all these things: enfilading fire, platoon, um, abatis, all these military terms that you might not know, that I don't want to stop the narrative to explain it, so it's in the glossary. And when I wrote my second book, which was, part two, it was still Civil War, same characters. So I just copy and pasted the glossary from the first book, but started adding things to it that were particular to that story. And I thought, okay, well, I'll just do that, and I'll just keep adding new stuff to the glossary every time I do a new book. I did that for book three as well, and it got longer and longer. And then when I wrote Mexico My Love, which is book four, it wasn't the American Civil War; it was the Mexican War. So there was a lot of terms that were specific to the American Civil War. So I took a lot of those words out of that one and started adding words that were only for the Mexican War. So that made it different from the previous glossaries. And then when I did book five, and it was Austro-Prussian War, same thing. I cleaned out a lot of words that were specific to the Mexican War, or that book, because there's Arabic word terms in there, all sorts of things. Because if you read that book, you know that part of it takes place in Northern Africa with the Franco-Algerian War and the Franco-Moroccan War. So now the glossaries were becoming very specific to each book. So I thought, well, I should have a master glossary that has everything. So I thought that one of the things I wanted to do in this interim between writing projects is to take all those glossaries and create a master glossary. And then as I write further books, I will add to the master glossary. And then when it's time to put the glossary at the end of the new books, I will just take that master glossary, copy it, and then on the copy, take out everything that isn't pertinent to the new book, and then that's the new glossary. But there's still a master glossary. So I thought, okay, well, that would be an interesting thing to give to people, and use as a leader loss. But I don't think it's attractive enough to get a new reader into my series. Someone isn't, and that's so basically that master glossary, which I'm calling the Engdalian glossary, is a reader magnet, and it's on the thumbnail of this video. Well, I don't think that's enticing enough. It might be for people who have been reading my stuff, saying, "Yeah, this is great. One master glossary that I can kind of, have aside to the book I'm reading, to have everything all in one place." But someone who's never heard of me isn't going to say, "Oh, free glossary for some guy's series. I'm going to join. I'm going to give him my email address to get this free thing." which is meaningless to me because I haven't read any of his books. So in the end, that's not really a good reader magnet, but it's a good test of how the reader magnet system works, how to deliver it to my email list, and how to give it away to new signups. With the idea, and so figuring that out now before I start writing the true reader magnet, so that when it comes time to publish it or deliver it, that mechanism is already in place. All right. So I went back to Brian Cohen's book on email marketing and read through it. And I will say my one complaint, it's not really a complaint, it's an observation because I understand why. But the one thing about either his email marketing book or his Amazon ad book is there's a lot of theoretical information and a lot of like argument of why you should be doing this information. But there's not a lot of like nuts and bolts, hands on how you do it. And the reason being is because that is constantly changing. So, so if you put that in a book and you're selling that book becomes obsolete very quickly. So I went through it again and just took notes of the things that are actionable information. And one was how to use BookFunnel to host your your giveaways, because basically what you do is you create these things, you put them in ebook form. In my case, I do EPUB, and then you upload it to this site, and from this site, people are able to download it. And this site also costs money. It's $20 a month for their most basic, for the most basic account. That basic account allows up to 500 downloads a month. So I can give things away 500 times. My feeling is once I get up, like the 450, it'll be, if I'm doing that kind of volume monthly, then it'll be worth my while to pay for the next level. And I don't know how, at some point it's unlimited downloads, but it's the same thing with my MailerLite. I can have up to 1,000 emails on it. I have a 91 right now. Once I get up to that high, it'll be worth it to pay for the next level. That's my philosophy on it. So, and the reason why is there's no other way that I can do this other than physically sending them a copy from me. And that gets very impractical very fast as you grow. And so you want to build, not too much, but you want to build for growth and be prepared for growth. So I followed the advice. I got an account with BookFunnel, paid $20 for it, and set it up. And then the other thing I did, and we'll flip to a preview of it, is I compiled my glossaries. I took all 6 glossaries. I tried to use AI to help me do it. But AI is so obtuse that it would have been. I ended up being able to do it with AI. Just so you know, I did all the writing, so I wrote even all the definitions are written by me. But I used AI to say, here are 6 glossaries. I want you to take all of them, compile them into one, get rid of all redundancies, and when there are redundancies, use the latest version. But it gets confused very fast because I asked it, would it be better if I gave you everything at once or upload each glossary one at a time? I said, well, upload them each one at a time. Well, when you do that, the AI forgets what it's doing. It like daydreams. So by the time you put up the 3rd or 4th one, it forgets what it's supposed to do, and it forgets the previous one. So by the time I put up the 6th one, it was just compiling like the last 2. So then I said, hey, you're getting this wrong. Do you want me to just upload them all together at one time? And said, sure, please do that. Well, I tried to do that, but then I got an error message because I'm using the free version of the AI. I said, this is too much data at one time. So I'm like, okay, well, what if I put this all in a PDF form and uploaded the PDF to you? It says, yeah, do that. But by that time, I'd used up all my free ability, so I had to wait like 6 hours to use it again. I finally was able to get it to do it, but it was not easy. And like I said, and I still had to go through and format everything. It might have been easier for me to just do it all the work myself. But that's my complaint with AI. But AI, all it did was help me compile the 6 glossaries. It did not write any of them for me. So once I did that, then I went into Canva and I created a cover. Because this is something I'm giving away for free, and that I'm not selling. I'm not really that worried about like getting a really great cover for it or paying the cover artist or whatever. I created a cover I think is acceptable and works. Put the cover on it, created an ebook with my word processor, and then uploaded it to um, uh, um, BookFunnel. Now you can use BookFunnel to do all the work to create the landing page, in which BookFunnel knows what you're using it for. So to build your email list. So you can create a landing page where people give their email, and then BookFunnel, once they do that, BookFunnel gives them the link to download the book. You can also set it up that once they sign up. Okay, the reason why I didn't do that, okay, let me get my thoughts together. You can do that all through BookFunnel, but what happens is then you just have a list of emails that you have to take over to MailerLite and then manually put them in. And then maybe do an automated sequence that once they get put in, people get an automated email that says, "Thanks for joining my email list. Here are the links. Here's the link to get your free book." The reason why I say here are the links is that BookFunnel knows that not everybody's a Kindle reader. So for one book, there are multiple links of how you can download it on BookFunnel. And that's another great thing about doing it on BookFunnel instead of trying to deliver it yourself, is BookFunnel automatically formats it into multiple forms to serve different people. So you can get it as a book file. You can get it as a Kindle file. You can get it as a Mobi file. You can get it as a PDF. There might be something you can read it online if you like. Watch this, I can swallow. I have to be careful though, because I'm still having trouble in aspirating when I swallow, but we're making progress with that. So that's the reason why I use BookFunnel. But anyway, I didn't want to have BookFunnel do the landing page, because to me that creates a whole other step of me now uploading everything, or me copying and pasting those new emails into email addresses into my MailerLite account. So I decided to do it through MailerLite, in that using their landing page, where you put in your email, and then what it is, there's a landing page that says, "Please put your email here," and then I can put in there, and if you do, you're going to get this free book. And then when they do that and click send or enter, it takes them to a landing page, and then on the landing page is the link to get your free book. You click on that, and then it takes you to the book linker page. And I'm going to show how all this works. It'll take you to that book linker page to show you where you can download everything. Okay, so I'm going to show you what that looks like. Okay, so this is my Facebook page, right? For my profile. So there's me and Laura. Here's my cover, with my books on there, and then right here is subscribe to Engdahl House, mail list. So if I click on that, and I don't think it follows, it does not. So what I have to do is I have to go back here, remove this, and then let's see, stop screen share. This should be so much easier. Present, and then we're going to do share screen again, except now we're going to do the sign up list. Okay. So now I'm sharing this. Okay. So if you clicked on that link from my Facebook page or my Twitter page or from one of my emails, it's going to take you to this page. This page I created this page in MailerLite. This is where you get, uh, this is where I collect emails. So they come here, they see this picture, and it says join Engdahl House. Sign up here for updates on discounts, new releases, appearances, and general news. Plus, get a free Engdahlian glossary ebook when you join. And then below that, I have this is probably too big, but this is what the cover for the book looks like, right? So I say, hopefully this works because I already joined my own email list. And the reason why I joined my own email list is because I like to test. So when emails go out, I get one too, and I can look at it to see how it's being delivered and what it looks like. So I'm going to put in my email list. So I'm Cody C. Engdahl at gmail.com. So remember, I think I'm Cody C at engdahlhouse.com on my email list, but that is not a place to really talk to me. You can reply to the emails, and I check them every day. But to do business with me or to talk to me in general, that's my personal email and my business email as well. So I hit subscribe, and let's see if this shows up on your end. I might have to. Oh, good. It's following the link. Okay. So when I hit subscribe, it takes you to this page. Once again, this was all built in MailerLite and not on BookFunnel, but you can do it through BookFunnel. So here's a more personal picture of me and Laura. I think it's a really good one. I think Laura is a great marketing tool because it makes me look like a winner, that I have this beautiful girlfriend who's nice, and we look like a nice couple. And then it says, thank you. Click the button below for a free ebook glossary. This is where we're going to get into the BookFunnel part. So then if you click that, it's going to take you. Let me see if this shows up on your end. Good. Excellent. It's going to take you to this is where you download. This is a BookFunnel page. So it shows you the cover. Like I said, I created this in Canva. The background was there, just wooden planks. The Engdahlian glossary. That's I Am Fell is the font. It's a font that I've been using as kind of a branding tool, like so that people see that font. Hopefully, they think about me and Engdahl House. So the Engdahlian glossary and explanation of terms used in the Long Century series. That might change once we get out of the series. Cody C. Engdahl. Okay, so, and then it says here, a compilation of all glossaries from Cody C. Engdahl novels. Download your copy of the Engdahlian glossary. There's a link here. Get my book. And then down here, there's a little explanation. This booklet is simply a compilation of the glossaries that appear at the end of my novels. The purpose of those glossaries is to clarify military, archaic, and foreign terms that may not be easily understood. Okay, before we do that, it also, if you don't want to download things, you can also read in the browser. And so this is cool. So this is the glossary. Let's see is it following that? Or do I have to? Okay, I have to do that manually. So I'm going to stop screen, share screen, and then, yeah, okay, good. So now you should see the let me just make sure that is happening here. There's a little bit delay. Okay, bam. All right, so you can see it. All right, let me see if I can find it. It's not that one. It's here. So then you can actually read it through the browser if you don't want to download it, right? So here's the table of contents. I have it by letter, so you can, and then here's a little preface. It just explains what it is. Once again, in the preface, like I said, here's a place to sign up for my hyperlink to sign up for my email list if you haven't done it already. You might have gotten this another way. And then here's the glossary. A, B, C. A cuirass is a piece of armor covering the front and back of the torso. A cuirassier is a heavy cavalry soldier equipped with a cuirass. Cutlass is a short, curved sword with a single edge, often used by sailors. And never pass up an opportunity to market yourself. So and this glossary, by the way, is going to get bigger and bigger as I go. And what I mean by never give up an opportunity to market yourself. At the end of the glossary is, look at this, a preview of Rampage on the River. Is there a hyperlink? There should be a hyperlink. Hopefully oh yeah, here we go. Here's a hyperlink. So I'm giving this away, and maybe somebody reads that preview, clicks on the hyperlink, and starts and buys Rampage on the River. See how that works? So let's go back to, let's see here. All right, yeah, I want to go back to this. So we're gonna stop sharing. So what you just looked at was, let's see, was what the actual book looks like that I uploaded. Now I'm going to show you, and that was without downloading. Now I'm going to show you where you download it, right? So people clicked on the link to join my email list. It brought them to a landing page. There they typed in their email. It brought them to a thank you page. There was a link to. There's too many. I know there's too many clicks along the way. But get your book. It came here. From here, you can read it in the browser. You got to click on that, or you can say, get my book. You click on that, and hopefully it comes up on your end. A pop-up just came up. Oh, good. It did show up there. I always got to make sure that it's showing. Yep. All right. Then, here we go. Which is your preferred reader? Apple Books, BookFunnel, Kindle, Kobo, Nook, or Read in Browser? And then down here, you can also get it emailed to you. You can get an EPUB version. You can get a PDF version, or maybe you want this. I didn't realize this until now. Maybe you're like, well, shoot, I don't have any of these. I need to do some research before I download this so I get the right version. You can save this so you can come back to it later. So I think that's pretty brilliant. And then that's basically how that works. Now I'm going to show you one more thing. So that's how it works on the reader side, their journey. So whether they found the link to join my email list at the end of one of my books, or on one of my social media pages, or in one of my personal emails, or they clicked on it on soon to be an ad on Facebook, or however, they went to that landing page where they typed in their email. Then it took them to a thank you page where there was a link to say, get your book here. They went there. That took them to a page that showed them the cover of the book, and they could read in browser. They clicked to the browser. Once again, it took them to another page where they could actually read through the book, or get my book, which brought up a pop-up that had multiple choices of formats that they could download the book. That's how that worked. Okay. What does it look like on my side? Well, let's see. We're going to remove that. And let's see if I'll pull up my share screen. I think it's this. Yes. So this is my book funnel dashboard, and I haven't. I just started. I just got my I just set this up, so I'm not very deft in navigating it, but I can show you here. Um, I've had 5 downloads of it. One of them is me. I downloaded a version of my glossary because I wanted to test it out. How does it work? Am I able to download a copy of it? All that. So I have 4 actual people who are not me who have taken advantage of it. I don't think I got any from like someone signing up now. I wanted to make sure the sign up was done first before I distributed it to my existing list, because I want to make sure that my existing list always gets the freebie. So once I set it up so that anybody new coming in got the freebie, I then went back to MailerLite and created an email to go out to all 91 email followers to say, hey, I've got this new free hang on a second. I got this new free ebook for you, the glossary, explained what it was, and then gave them the link to get it. So so because of that email going out, I got 4 people downloaded, and I wasn't expecting a whole lot because I don't really I really don't know what the value of the glossary is, or if it's an item that people really want. And that's why I used it as kind of a test to set this whole system up, so that, like I said, when the novella comes out, that I will not only will I know how to give it away to new signups, but I'll also be able to give it away to my existing my existing list. The next step for me is I'm going to within the next couple of days set up an automated sequence so that when you sign up, and this will be on the MailerLite side, that when you sign up for the email list, within 24 hours, you will get an automated email that says, welcome to my email list. Thank you so much. Just in case you didn't get the freebie, here's the link one more time for you to download. And that won't be a sign up link. It'll be a direct link to that page where it says, get your free book. Except at that point, it'll be for both of them. So click here to get the free novella, which would be the Underground Railroad Ball, and click here for to get the free glossary. You can have both of them for free when you sign up for my email list. And then when the novella is done and formatted and uploaded to book funnel and distributed to the list and set up so that you get it when you sign up. Where was I going with this? I lost my train of thought. Oh boy. Oh yeah. I will then start a campaign. I don't know how much money I'm going to spend on it because it's very expensive. Can't advertise it on Amazon because it's not an Amazon thing. It's completely outside of Amazon. So I will probably create some ads for Meta and then run those from time to time. I can't run it consistently because it's a lot of money. You know, when you give Amazon a $5 a day limit, you'll be lucky if that ad spends $5 in a month, and it only spends if people click on it. So hopefully people click on it, they buy. When you give Facebook a $5 a day limit, they make damn sure they spend it and then some. Usually $5 a day ends up being like $6 and some change, you know, because people click on the ad after it's been running. It doesn't just disappear. So So that will be the plan. We'll see how that works. I will, I will probably, with this channel that I'm doing, I'm always gonna have. I'm trying to be topical with what I'm doing. So when we get closer to that, or when we get to that point, I'll probably do some lives and go over this some more, and talk about running the ads and all that kind of stuff. But so that is it. That is the reader magnet, how it works, what I'm doing with it, my general plan. If you want the glossary for yourself, just sign up for my email list. The link's down below. All right. So what's happening? Uh, so I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna build that automated email, and then March or May 6th, 16th, I will start writing the Underground Railroad Ball. Hopefully that will be done this fall, and we'll get that out to everybody. And then I'm gonna start writing Blast James. I don't have any scheduled. As a fiddler, I'm going to be playing at Travelers Rest. When is that? During It's something like Heritage Days. It's same thing I do at Massacre Station. Actually, no. I'm going to be presenting. I think it's going to be for school kids, but I'm going to be presenting a brief history of the American Civil War through fiddle tunes. Let me pull up my schedule here and see if I can easily see. Yeah, Thursday the 29th of May. I'll be at Travelers Rest presenting that lecture and playing the fiddle. I will be, I think in September, I will be at the gathering of the White House and Museum. There, I'll have a table and I'll be signing books. So I'll be in September. I'll let you guys know. I'll probably put out, and once again, I'll put out an email to my email list that I'm going to be there to have people come see me. And is there anything else? There might be. I think I'm going to be just as a fiddler at the Head Farm. Yeah, they have like a farm to table banquet there with live entertainment, and Paul and I will be playing. That'll be June 7th. I won't have a table full of books, but they will be in my trunk. So if you're there and like before or after the dinner, if you want to come take me aside and get a signed book from me, I'll have them. But that's about it for. I may or may not be doing Morgan on the Rim. I'll let those guys come to me because I don't want to be presumptuous because they usually give me a free table. And Morgan returns on the next. That'll be like the last weekend in October, and then the first weekend in November. We'll see. Once again, things like that, because I don't pay for tables, so I don't ask for them either. But if they ask me, then I'll do it. But I'll let you guys know. Once again, get on my email list, and that's where you get it. As far as the cancer, if you want to know, I'm seeing a swallow therapist. We are we started with the first session. I had not taken anything through the mouth since February when I got my feeding tube. So even drinking water, I have like a syringe and I pump it into my stomach. I have a tube that goes directly into my stomach that I pump. Liquid medicine, water, and the food is like kind of like baby formula, but has no taste at all. It's like a carton, and I pour it into the syringe and then pump it into my stomach. My therapist got me doing like only smooth yogurts and bisque style soups with no chunks in it. And she wanted me to do about 3 ounces 3 times a day, for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, while still taking the formula through the tube. And I did very well with that. Sometimes I even ate a whole can of Campbell's soup for lunch, for example. But it wears my throat out. And the thing is, I have to relearn how to swallow. And the most important is to be able to control it so that it goes down my throat and not into my lungs and give me uh, it's called aspirating and choking me one and giving me pneumonia and killing me two. So so I had to kind of there's a lot of scar tissue in my throat from the radiation. So I had to relearn how to swallow. So I did very well that first week after our first session. She was very excited about um, my progress. So she said next week, she goes, I want you to bring either we do this over the video instead of person, which is great. Either cheese puffs or Ritz crackers. And the reason why is that even though cheese puffs and Ritz crackers are hard, they soften they crumble very quickly. So she wants to see me able, and they absorb saliva. So she wants to see if I'm able to chew these and swallow them. It's a transition food, and we're working our way for me to be able to just eat and drink regularly. I got some of my taste back, not completely, but I can taste things. I've also added whiskey. So I've started drinking whiskey 3 times a week when I'm with Laura. It burns a lot at first. I make old fashions. It gets better as my drink dilutes with the ice. But I want to drink whiskey, and I love it. I want to give up the things I love. So um, that's been going very well. The first few sips of it are tough, but I get through it. I have a very nice bottle of whiskey that my friend Matthew Harpy sent me, Buffalo Trace. I also have a bottle that Laura bought me, Bardstown. So I'm looking forward. I have a slab of ribs, and I told my therapist that my goal is to have a slab of ribs and whiskey. I'm drinking cheap whiskey now because I don't want to waste it on, still with my muted sense of taste and how much it burns for me to put it in my mouth because of all the scar tissue and there's still a lot of open wounds in there. But I said, I don't know if I'll do it, but I would like to. I have this idea of maybe having ribs on um, 4th of July. And she says, oh, we might get you there soon. So that's the goal, is that by the 4th of July, that I'm going to smoke a slab of ribs for Laura and me. I'm going to be drinking Buffalo Trace, given to me by my friend Matthew Harvey. And I'm going to have ribs, coleslaw, and sweet potatoes in some kind of form. I decided, like, well, if I could have anything, uh, like my last meal before an execution, what would you like? I would say ribs, coleslaw, and sweet potato something. It could be sweet potato casserole, sweet potato fries, even just a literal baked sweet potato with brown sugar and butter. Any of that would be good. What I usually do is I got this recipe off the internet. I chop them up. I chop up the sweet potatoes into cubes. I always leave the skin on. I always leave the skin on. And then I make a slurry of melted butter, brown sugar, some spices like nutmeg and ginger, and bourbon. And I I mix that up, and then I rub that into the sweet potato chunks, and then I roast them in the oven, and they're delicious. And so I have that with yeah, with the so yeah, ribs, sweet potatoes, and coleslaw. Maybe some white rice. My friend Chris Cruel taught me this. He's a big rib enthusiast too. She serves his ribs with white rice, and what it does is you put the ribs on top of the rice with and all the fat and the juice and the rice kind of soak into the rice, and then the rice has that flavor, and the rice also helps settle your stomach. It kind of absorbs all that fat in your stomach and makes it so you don't get indigestion as much. And so I'll probably make some white rice to have a white rice cooker, and that's it. As far as this the channel here, I definitely want. I almost did this last night, but Laura called me just before I was about to put it out that I was going to go live, and then we talked. She doesn't normally call me on her way home, but she had lots. She wanted to talk, so we talked for like over an hour. Um, I am reading Bernard Cornwell's latest Richard Sharp novel. There's over 22 of them. I don't know the exact number, but this is Sharp's Command. What's interesting about that series is I think in the initially, I can't remember what the first book is. I thought it was Sharp's Rifles, but it's not. Um, I think the first 6 books he wrote in sequential order, but then he started writing books in all different places because in the end, I mean, obviously Richard Sharp is in every book, so that's not a spoiler, right? He eventually he starts off as a private, and that's not even the original book. Because the finish of the thing, Bernard Cornwell wrote 6 books, I think. He wrote the first batch of them in order, and then he wrote all over the place. He wrote prequels, he wrote sequels, he wrote books that fit in between books, and so, and his writing is very episodic. So there's serialized books and there's episodic books, and think of episodes as like the A team. Like every week, the A team are going to fight or have a new adventure, and you don't have to watch them in order to understand the story. It's just that every week there's a new adventure, and you just know that these guys do this thing, and you're going to do another one with them. Serialized is more like watching Dynasty or a soap opera or a streaming service show where that all the episodes tell an overall story, and so it can be confusing because like I've been watching The Mandalorian, and those I've only watched season 1 and we started season 2. That one does both. There are serialized episodes in which there's an overall story about the Mandalorian and the Baby Yoda and their story about what's happening. And then there's episodic episodes in which this week he's on this planet and there's these people farming shrimp and there's these bad guys. And it's very much like the A team where he's got to help them fight the bad guys. So they do a little bit of both. So Bernard Cornwell's books are very episodic in that, yeah, there's an overall story, but you can jump in anywhere within that story and just get a nice, Richard Sharp is an officer who came up through the ranks. He's got a chip on his shoulder. There's a lot of class warfare in this struggle, and he's got his best friend Patrick Harper, who's his sergeant that and then his men, the riflemen. And this book, this is the bad guy, and they're fighting the French, and this is they're all great. So this one is Richard is he eventually becomes a lieutenant colonel by the end of the whole thing. By the time he gets to Waterloo, it's Napoleonic Wars. He's a lieutenant colonel. Not in the order that they were written, but in the chronological order in which you can read the books now. The very first book, Sharp's Tiger, and they're all named at that. It's Sharp's something, so like possessive form of Sharp. Sharp's Tiger, Sharp's Fortress, Sharp's Command, Sharp's Sword, Sharp's Enemy. The very first book is a private in India, and by the end, and I think that chronologically, the last book is after the Napoleonic Wars. He has left the service. His last rank was lieutenant colonel. An old friend of his asked him to go to Chile to help out with something. I've read it. I can't remember what exactly happens, but it's interesting because on his way to Chile, they stop in Elena, which is the mid-Atlantic island that was the last prison for Napoleon. So he has a face-to-face with Napoleon, which is kind of an interesting. It's just kind of there to. It's not necessary for the plot, but it's an interesting thing to see Sharp sit down and talk to Napoleon a little bit, and then he goes to Chile and has an adventure, and that's the last book as far as chronology. The latest book is this one that came out last year, Sharpe's Command, where um, he's a major. I can't remember the books that are on either side of it, but it's after the Battle of Hose, which I've read that. I read them all, and the next book is coming out pretty soon, sometime this spring, I think. But yeah, they're fun books. They're if you read any of them, you kind of know how they're gonna go. But they're fun, and so I'm reading that. I got 20% more to read, and then we'll be doing a review probably early next week, if not this weekend. And then after that, I have a Colin Faulkner book, Stigmata. Colin, he and I are Facebook friends. Interesting guy. I don't know the truth of this, and I would like to know. I think Colin, this is pure speculation, but Colin has a whole series of books, and if you look at the original published dates, some of them go back to the 80s. So Colin has been writing for a very long time. He has a series that not only are they episodic, but it's not even the same characters. It's just called, it's some kind of adventure, historical adventure thriller series. And basically, I think what he has done is got the rights to all his books from, I think he was traditionally published. I think he got all his books from his publisher and now is independent like me. And I think what he has done, and I would love to ask him to talk to him, is I think he's gotten all the books that he has written, got the rights to them, and has gone independent, and then went and got new covers for them that all match each other, so they have the same branding. And then he's written new books. He offers these books as a series, even though they're not really connected. Which I think he's done his marketing research and saw that people in our genre like series. And then he will rotate through them and offering them for like $1.99, sometimes 99 cents. So I picked up a few of them. I read one called The Lord of Atlas. It was really good. It was like late 19th century. A couple adventurers take on a mercenary thing where they're gonna train some North African warlord, train his troops with artillery, and they go on this adventure. It's great. So I have this one called Stigmata. It has to do with Templars and medieval France, and I guess the church, because Stigmata, I understand Stigmata as a miracle where someone starts bleeding through the hands like Christ. So we'll see. I've read one of his books. It was great. Really enjoyed it. So that's the next book I'm going to be reading. And then I have a whole list from there. So that's probably what will be the next one of these. And then we'll see after that. So anyway, happy Friday to everybody. Wow, I've gone an hour and a half. So I'm gonna sign off from here. I always say this at the end: if you are a writer, keep writing. If you're a writer, you should be a reader too, as I am. If you're a reader, keep reading, and make sure that you are giving at least the minimum you can do is at the end give someone 5 stars or however many stars that you're willing to give. 5 stars is the best, because we authors on Amazon, we need to keep our books above 4 stars, because Amazon favors books that are 4 stars. So it'll even say, here's a bunch of books, 4 stars or above. So we want to keep our average above 4 stars. So 5 stars helps keep it. So when people give us 3 stars and 2 stars and 1 stars, having some 5 stars in there helps bring the average above 4. Thankfully, all my books are above 4. I think Rampage is right at 4. So we need 5-star ratings. That's number one. You can just do that, and that's a big help. The next big help is to do a review. Your review can be like 3 words, like I liked it. I liked it. Yeah, I liked it. Uh, I try to write some extensive ones because it it's I feel like I owe it to them. I'm a writer, and it also helps my own marketing because I then use that review as a WordPress article in which at the very end I promote my own book and the person's book who I'm reviewing. So if you can, 5 stars or as many stars as you're willing to give. And then if you want to do a second thing, write a few lines, write a review, and then do that number one on Amazon. That's where we need it the most. But you can also copy and paste that onto Goodreads, which is also good too. But I think that the Amazon is more important. And I'll leave it at that. Have a safe and happy weekend. I love you guys, and I will see you soon with my next live video. All right, let's see how do I get out of this gracefully and stream. All right, see you soon.